Next item is adoption of the agenda. Is there any changes, additions anyone wishes to make? I hear none, so is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Move to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by raising your hand. The agenda is adopted as presented. The matter of old business, we have a public safety complex repairs update by Public Works. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Ham, Councilman. We have our RFQ for this repair sent out last week, and we do have interest in it from some firms already. And our proposals are due back on November the 9th. Once we get the proposals back, our working group that's been working on this project will evaluate based on the criteria we've got out in the proposal. It's kind of a point system. Once we evaluate everyone, we'll have a short list, maybe do an in-person interview, maybe have them make a presentation, and then at that time we can determine who we want to award the contract to and start making the plan to make repairs. So until then, I have nothing else to add, really.
What was the not lettered in date for submission of proposals?
Sir?
What was the due
November
date?
9th.
November 9th.
Okay.
So we got a few weeks.
So your second meeting, they would come back with more information for council decision potentially.
And we may have only one that's qualified. That might make it easier, but once we have some people identified, we'll come back and give you the results of all the proposals.
Good. We need to move on that at the soonest.
Yes, sir. Once this
But we
ball
need to
starts
move
rolling,
carefully. We need to move carefully.
well, this will be a process where once we identify our firm, we won't know every single detail at the beginning, but we'll be designing and building as we go. So we just got to get a firm handle on exactly what we're designing and building and getting this firm to write the specs and the construction details.
Good.
I just got one question. Is this the result of a bad site preparation?
It's hard to say. This is a 50-year-old building. The new part is not failing, except maybe around one door. It's the older parts that are sinking. So it's hard to go back and look at a soil test from 50 years ago.
Any other comments, questions? All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
We have no further old business, so we'll go to new business, and we have the city clerk talk to us about boards and commissions vacancies.
Good afternoon, council. There are two candidates for the planning commission vacancy. You have received their applications at your last meeting. There are two resolutions as part of the consent agenda. Please discuss at this time, and once there's a consensus on which citizen to appoint, the citizen not appointed will stay listed as an applicant, and that resolution will be discarded. Also, as a reminder, we are down to one citizen listed as an applicant for our boards and commissions. We will have approximately 20 vacancies to include first term and second terms at the end of December. So we're making a big cry for citizen participation at this point. We only have one application pending. So you have two different citizen requests, which was Duke Cox and Kyle Kramer. And I'll open this up for y'all to discuss.
Council, you've seen the vacancies and the applications. Is there a motion to fill those vacancies as recommended?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Real quick, Madam Clerk, do we know the dynamics of the districts?
Yes, ma'am. I think that was, I thought it was in your last packet.
It
Let me
was.
see. Hold on a second. I've got it right here. Give me 1 second. Okay. That's the planning commission. So, planning commission. The vacancy was in District 3.
Mm.
That was the position that was held before. So you have one person in District 6, one person in District 4, one in District 2, and one in District 5. So you're missing a representative for 1 and 3.
But both of these are from 2 and 6, so we'll
Mhm.
double up.
Yes, ma'am. And those
And
are our only choices at this time, but we need to try to fill a position on their board.
So the community relative, I was just wondering.
Any discussion?
I would like to, if now's the right time to say this, I would like to put Duke Cox on the planning commission as he's requested. Again, you're looking at someone who's, you know, professionally speaking, is engaged with real estate and development. Looking at the other applicant now. With the Arts Council. Yeah, I'd like to move both of these folks on to commissions, for sure. So, one, if Planning Commission is the one that has the vacancy, then I would say Duke Cox. But I certainly would like to see Kyle placed on a commission as soon as there's one available.
Let's see. We do now have one position on a Commission on Community Relations, and that was
His second choice.
his second
His
choice.
second choice.
If y'all would like to do that, I can come back
Yeah, I think
with a
that would be
resolution.
good.
I'd like to.
Okay.
Yeah.
If y'all are okay, I can bring a resolution back for that one. Actually, I
Yeah.
might be able to do it before the
That'll work.
7 o'clock meeting, that way you can do both. Okay.
So we'll just wait till 7 o'clock.
I'll put both of those for the resolution for the consent agenda.
Okay.
Thank you. Is that consensus among council?
Yeah.
Is that consensus among council? Okay. Thank you.
So then do we need to amend the agenda? Okay,
No, sir, I'll get another resolution done for that
all right.
before the meeting.
Okay, so that takes care of old and new business. This time we'll go to the consent agenda. Excuse me, yes, go to this consent agenda. And
Okay, we have home ARP underwriting and subsidy layering guidelines. Ms. Felicia Williams, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon.
So I have first the home ARP underwriting and subsidy layering guidelines for non-congregate shelter unit projects. Again, the city has been allocated $907,913 of home ARP funds by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to assist individuals or households who are homeless, at risk of homelessness, and other vulnerable populations. On January 23rd, council voted to approve splitting the allocation at 60-40, with 60% being allocated to non-congregate shelter and 40% being allocated to supportive services. Before the city can commit home ARP funds to a project, it must evaluate the project to determine the amount of home ARP capital subsidy and operating cost assistance necessary to provide quality, affordable housing that meets the requirements of CPD Notice 21-10 and is financially viable throughout the minimum 15-year home ARP compliance period. The city must evaluate the project in accordance with underwriting and subsidy layering guidelines it has developed for their home ARP projects. The city's project underwriting must include an in-depth review of underlying project assumptions, development sources and uses, and projected operating income and expenses, and the project's long-term financial viability to determine the project's need for home ARP assistance while preventing over-subsidization of the project. HUD anticipates that project developers will rely on low-income housing tax credit financing, home funds, housing trust fund grants, project-based vouchers, project-based rental assistance, operating cost reserves, state or local sources, or a combination of these and other resources to create feasible home ARP projects and maintain compliance with home ARP requirements. Community Relations and Development Department has developed a thorough and detailed program guide pursuant to CPD Notice 21-10 requirements for the use of funds in the Home ARP program. Once approved, Home ARP RFPs and supporting applications will be published on October 19th, 2023, and staff is asking that council by motion adopt the newly developed Home ARP underwriting and subsidy layering guidelines for non-congregate shelter unit projects.
Council, do you have any questions on the document that she's prepared, the Home ARP document?
Go ahead.
I don't think I have a question particularly on the document, but just a kind of general question. With that allocation, and I know your office all the time gets a lot of requests for utility help, and I know those are some of the things that can be covered with that money. Does the city have to do a RFP, or can we decide to take a small piece of that money to keep in your office to meet some of those needs when they come in?
So for the supportive services, the way it's set up, rent assistance can be provided as a supportive services. So
Okay.
that's a separate activity, separate application for whoever will provide that. So we can't, as a city,
Okay, that's what I was.
provide rent assistance payments.
Okay.
We can contract out with a nonprofit or an agency that does
Okay.
that type of work.
Okay.
All right, Andy. So the ongoing economic viability, I understand, debt coverage ratios and operating margins. What's, are you looking for positive cash flow, from the different organizations? And how deep are we going into their books to make sure that they're going to be able to sustain themselves long term?
So HUD hasn't issued a timeline or how far to go,
Okay.
just that we have to have that documentation. We're gonna rely on the underwriter
Okay.
to determine that, to make the feasibility determination for us.
And who will the underwriters?
We will contract out for that as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Any other comments?
You certainly have a high volume of requirements to do everything.
Yes, HUD has.
It's unbelievable.
In that regard, Ms. Williams, again, I want to express appreciation on behalf of the council for the hard work that you put in preparing for this. This is a large undertaking by the city, something that we've been talking about for months, but we're really now nearing the point where we can really take some action, I believe, on this. So thank you for your due diligence on this. And we're a long ways, well, not a long ways, but we still got a ways to go.
Yes,
So,
sir.
I know you're gonna stay on top of, you and I have had this discussion, and it's important that we not drop the ball on this, we'll keep it moving. So,
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Mayor, for you and your support, and council as well, and the managers. We will, while we're on the topic, there will be an information session tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. It has been announced on the city's website. Ahead of the application being put out, the department will hold an information session for any agency, organization, or interested resident who would like to attend to get further information. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next item, Felicia.
Okay. I have Home ARP, Supportive Services, Program Guidelines and Application. And again, the city's been allocated the $907,913, and council has voted to split the allocation at 60-40, with 60% allocated to non-congregate shelter and 40% allocated to supportive services. Home ARP funds may be used to provide a broad range of supportive services to qualifying individuals or families as a separate activity or in combination with other home ARP activities. There are 3 categories specifically included as supportive services under Home ARP: McKinney-Vento Supportive Services, Homelessness Prevention Services, and Housing Counseling Services. These eligible supportive services are listed in detail in the Supportive Services Program Guidelines and Application. The Community Relations and Development Department has developed a thorough and detailed program guide and application pursuant to CPD Notice 21-10 requirements for the use of funds in the Home ARP program. Again, upon receiving council's approval of the Home ARP Supportive Services Program Guide and application, the department, with assistance from the city's procurement manager, will publish all Home ARP requests for proposals and applications on October 19, 2023. And staff is asking, by motion that council adopt the newly developed Home ARP Supportive Services Program Guidelines and application.
Any questions, comments? Again, ditto on my previous comments for
Thank
this
you
as
so
well.
much, Mayor. Thank you.
I'd like to echo them as well. Thank you, Felicia.
Thank
A
you.
lot of detailed work in those guidelines.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have our Finance Director, Ms. Gwynn. She's got 5 items for council.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, still.
So my first item is accept or reject the initial bid and authorize finance to advertise for upset bid for East Spruce Street and 706 East Spruce Street. The city has received 2 offers to purchase city-county-owned property, and council must either accept or reject the offer. And if accepted, authorize advertisement for upset bids under GS 168, 266, and 269. So I want to point out that East Spruce Street and 706 East Spruce Street are 2 different pieces of property, okay? You might see on the offers that were attached, they use 704. We have to go by the PIN number. In consulting with the planning department, there is not an address on the one, that's why we're calling it East Spruce Street. And I just wanted to be sure that everyone understood that we are talking about 2 lots. We received 2 offers, one from a Terrence Bynum for $3,950 with a bid deposit of $197.50. The offer is at least 50% of the tax value of the property, and the bid deposit of 5% has been received in the form of money orders. Offer number 2 is from Melissa Bynum Gill. Offer was $3,770 with bid deposit of $188.50. The offer is at least 50% of the tax value, and the bid deposit of 5% has been received in the form of cashier's checks. So the combined tax value for both parcels is $3,770. Planning has confirmed that both lots are non-conforming. It is the recommendation of the staff to sell both lots together and then require the winning bidder to combine the lots into one lot upon recording of the deed. So at this time, I'm just asking if the council, we are recommending that Terrence Bynum be the offer that we accept because he had the higher offer. And so at this time, I'm just asking the council to have a motion to accept the offer for East Spruce and 706 East Spruce Street from Terrence Bynum.
Is there a motion to accept or reject the offer from Mr. Bynum for the East Spruce and 706 Spruce Street?
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, you signify by raising your hand to accept. Those objecting signify by raising your hand. Okay,
She's abstaining.
you abstain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's
It says
an
no, it's just a
affirmative.
yes vote, right?
Means it's just paid.
Yes. So a no vote is a yes
It will be
vote.
recorded as a yes vote.
Okay,
Okay.
Which one?
yeah, it was a yes vote,
Okay.
anyway.
Okay. All right. My next item is authorization of sale of jointly owned property for 409 North Slocum Street to the Fairlane Group LLC. Wayne County has requested concurrence by the City Council for jointly owned city-county-owned property. The county conducted the sale under the upset bid process 160A-269 and was approved at the September 19th, 2023 Commissioners' meeting. The buyer is the Fairlane Group. The sales price was $1,000. The tax value is $1,830. And there's no action for the council at this time, but there is a resolution attached for you to approve later tonight. Okay?
Thank you.
My next item is amending a special revenue fund ordinance for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grants. On August 21st, 2023, council approved a resolution to allow the Goldsboro Police Department to apply for the 2023 JAG grant in the amount of $47,702. On October 2nd, council approved a resolution to accept the federal grant for the purchase of 4 in-car cameras and individual first aid kits for the police department, and then also individual first aid kits for the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. At this time, a budget amendment is needed so that we can appropriate the revenues and expenditures so the terms of the grant may be fulfilled. The Goldsboro Police Department will share in the grant funding with the Wayne County Sheriff's Department in accordance with the signed memo of understanding, and there is no local match required. The Goldsboro Police Department portion of the grant is $29,433, and the Wayne County Sheriff is $18,269 for a total of $47,702. And you have the budget ordinance amendment in your packet for approval later this evening.
Any questions on item I? Okay.
Okay, my next item is a grant project budget ordinance amendment for the state grants miscellaneous grant project fund. So North Carolina General Assembly with their FY23 budget included a grant for the city of Goldsboro for $150,000. $50,000 was for Parks and Rec, $100,000 was for capital and infrastructure. At the November 7th, 2022 meeting, council approved 2 resolutions to accept both of the awards. And then at the April 17th, 2023 meeting, council created the grant project budget ordinance so that we could account for the grant as per the grant application that we signed. So at this time, the North Carolina State Office of Management and Budget has accepted the scope of work for the $100,000, and it has been allocated towards transportation type activities. As you see in the memo, resurfacing was approved for $57,000, and sidewalk extension on Ash Street was approved for $43,000, which is the total of the $100,000 grant. So at this time, we're amending that grant project budget ordinance for $100,000. We have received the money. It came in a couple of days after the manager signed the grant agreement. So we're asking at this time to appropriate revenues and expenditures so we can begin fulfilling the terms of the grant.
Any questions? Okay.
Okay, my last item is an FY 23-24 annual operating budget ordinance amendment. The street paving division, we are requesting an amendment of $154,665.91. And this is for a portion of the street resurfacing project that was approved at the October 2nd, 2023 council meeting, where Daniels Inc. was awarded a paving contract in the amount of $278,150.95. At that time, it was presented that the $154,000 would be an appropriation of fund balance, so that is how I have it presented in the budget amendment tonight. And the next item, there was an equipment failure of a fire truck where the cab raised up inside the bay, and it did quite a bit of damage to the truck and to the bay door. And so the insurance company, VFIS, will pay for a rental truck for no more than, I think it's 40 days, and it's a cost of $250 a day. So we will receive that back in the form of insurance proceeds. So I've included a budget ordinance amendment here for $10,000 so we can rent the truck. The repairs to the door are still to be determined, so that's why I do not have anything as far as repairing that. It will be under our deductible, so that'll be something the city will have to pay for. And then in the water reclamation facility, later, I think it's item O, you will be presented an item where Mr. Sherman will request a change order in the amount of $49,395.36 to Aqua Aerobic Systems for additional unexpected work for the rebuild of Sand Filter 2. We are recommending that this be funded with an appropriation of fund balance in the utility fund. And of course, I did present you an analysis of appropriation of fund balance for both the general fund and the utility fund in the memo, if you would like to look at that. But that's all that I have this evening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Catherine?
Yes, sir.
So,
Any questions?
yeah, just one quick one. Insurance company will provide a rental fire truck to the city for a period of 40 days at a cost not to exceed $250 a day. You can't rent a fire truck for $250 a day. So do we know how much the insurance company?
That was the price. The contract that we pre-audited
Okay.
was for the $250. They agreed to that. So I guess they must have some deal worked out where it can be provided for that. Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, chiller replacement, City Hall, IT Director Scott Williams.
Need Mayor, Council. Of item L is chiller replacement for Historic City Hall and City Hall Addition. I spoke with you last meeting about this and that our existing unit had failed and we could not repair it at this time. And we'd authorized the rental of a unit to keep us cool. So that's what we're under right now, is a portable unit that's in the parking lot. So we have got prices and had things to be able to go forward with the chiller replacement at this time. The General Statute 143-129 requires formal bidding when the estimated expenditure of public funds is greater than $90,000 for apparatus, supplies, materials, or equipment. There is a line, a portion of that, a subsection E3, that allows you to do it under cooperative purchasing agreements. So the replacement of the chiller will be done under the Omnia Partners Cooperative Purchasing Agreement, and Brady is the company that works under that contract. So it's recommended council approve the attached resolution awarding the purchase of a new chiller to Brady and approving creation of purchase order to Brady in the amount of $385,843. Any questions?
Any questions? I saw this replacement, temporary replacement chiller out there on a trailer, flatbed.
Yes,
So obviously it's working because of school in here.
that's right.
Tell me again who you got that from?
So that one is our contractor we have that does the support for the city's HVAC stuff is Piedmont Service Group. And they did it's a rental unit that they got acquired for us and installed, and they're maintaining to keep the buildings comfortable for us.
Okay.
And so it's a rental, that's a monthly rental fee after it was set up.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. HVAC unit for the Goldsboro Event Center, Parks and Rec Director Brown.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we have a running theme going, it appears. I'm here before you to discuss the HVAC unit for the Goldsboro Event Center. One of the 7.5-ton units that heats and cools the ballroom area at the GEC has failed. This unit is 27 years old. The Goldsboro Event Center staff requested quotes to replace it, and they were successful in obtaining 2 quotes, and the lower of the quotes is $19,870. And of course, money was not budgeted for this HVAC replacement for FY24. So I'm here before you this evening because it is the recommendation of staff that council approve the attached resolution authorizing staff to purchase a new HVAC unit for the Goldsboro Event Center. Any questions?
You gotta have it, it's a hot building.
Any questions, any discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia. Mike West, Chief West, Veterans Day Parade.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor.
Hey, Chief.
Item N on the consent agenda, Veterans Day Parade temporary street closure. The annual Veterans Day Parade is a parade to honor all U.S. military veterans from all branches of the U.S. Armed Forces for their service. The parade is organized, coordinated, and sponsored by the Wayne County Veterans and Patriots Coalition. Street closure request for Saturday, November 11th, 2023 is as follows. For the parade route, it will be south on Center Street, beginning at Ash Street to Pine Street, going around the traffic circle, heading north on Center Street back to Ash Street, and ending at Ash Street. Staging area, street closing for staging will be South Center Street between Ash and Holly Street, Oak Street between James and William Street. It should be North Center Street, so I'll start back over. The staging area streets for closure will be North Center Street between Ash and Holly, Oak Street between James and William, Vine Street between James and William, Beach Street between Center and William Street. Additional closures recommended by the police department to manage traffic flow will encompass James Street between Oak and Ash, Ash Street between James and John, Mulberry Street between James and John, Walnut Street between James and John, Chestnut Street between James and John, Spruce Street between James and John, Pine Street between James and John, and Center Street at Elm Street. Parking restrictions, there'll be no parallel parking on Center Street from Pine Street to Ash Street. The time requested for street closing is from 7 a.m. until 3 p.m. Police have indicated that traffic will be restricted from 7 a.m. until 10:30 a.m., and all traffic will be stopped at 10:30 a.m. The actual parade will begin at 11 a.m. and end at approximately 12:30 p.m. As with all downtown events, affected city departments will be contacted, and the following concerns are to be addressed. All intersections remain open for the police department traffic control. 14-foot fire lane is to be maintained to provide access for fire and emergency vehicles. All activities, changes in plans, etc., will be coordinated with the police department. The police and fire departments and public work department are to be involved in the logistical aspects of this event. It's recommended by motion grant the requested temporary street closure for the sections of Pine Street, Spruce Street, Center Street, Walnut Street, John Street, Mulberry Street, Ash Street, James Street, Chestnut Street, Oak Street, Vine Street, and Beach Street for the Veterans Day Parade route and staging area from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, November 11th, 2023, as stated above.
Any questions?
Thank
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. And we have change order number 1 for the water reclamation facility sand filter rehabilitation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have a change order for the rehabilitation of the sand filter number 2 at the WRF. In fiscal year 2023, in that budget, the rehabilitation of that sand filter number 2 was approved and resolution adopted at the City Council meeting on December 19th for $201,702. During the rebuild of the sand filter number 2, it was found that there was extensive damage to the fiberglass in that sand filter. They couldn't see that during the when they first bitted it out. The cell dividers. Those dividers are 30 years old. The fiberglass, it's hard to repair. In order to repair the damage, additional parts and labor beyond the original scope is required. The cost for the unseen repairs will be an additional $49,395.36, which includes sales tax. It is recommended that the City Council adopt the attached resolution authorizing the change order to the contract of the Operabic Systems, Inc. for the additional labor and materials for the unforeseen repairs for sand filter number 2 at the WRF.
Is that work ongoing presently?
Yes, it's almost completed.
And when did it start?
It started 3 weeks ago.
And you've seen this,
Yes.
this damage?
Yes. What was happening is they were trying to repair the parts that were there, and as the fiberglass was getting there, every time they would cut it or do anything with it, it would start fraying. And that was because of it was actually original equipment that was inside that sand filter.
Any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Bert. Adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 53, Assistant City Manager Livingston.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. As we may recall, we have had this discussion several times. Section 53.17 provisions for making connections to the city's water and sewer system does allow for a 7-year deferment of annexation for industrial properties. Our recommendation is that deferment be 0, and there be no time lapse for that period, to be similar to what we do with residential and retail properties, as a more equitable solution to helping us gain revenue.
So this is an item that we discussed at the last meeting, and there was a consensus of the members that we would accept this recommended change. Anyone else have any
I
comment?
just wanted to add a little context, if I could, Mayor. So we've heard the county commissioners talk about potential billion-dollar industry coming to the city of Goldsboro. And if that were the case, the tax at our current tax rate would be $7.3 million a year. And for the city to not collect that tax for 7 years would be over $50 million worth of funding that could go a long way to provide for pay increases by equipment, operating costs, facilities, et cetera. So that's why the staff is recommending that we do this, that we ask for petitions for voluntary annexation upon provision of services.
Any comments or questions?
So if I may, so when there are these economic development incentives that come up, a lot of times you will have the county doing tax rebates based off of specific criteria. Is there anything that stops us from being
No.
able to do that as well?
We can still coordinate with the county to do those those incentives essentially
Right.
for economic development based on how much the company would put in and how many jobs they hire and
Right.
et cetera.
So
just
we
as
could,
we've
we
done in
could
the
mirror
past.
exactly what the county does, at least in structure, right?
And we
Okay.
would also collect tax like the county does.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Thank you. Next item is advisory board and commission appointment. Clerk talked about that earlier. She's going to revise that resolution to now include an additional appointment.
So you have a copy of that resolution in front of you,
Yes.
and that will appoint the position for the planning commission for Duke Cox and commission on community relations for Kyle Kramer.
Everyone in agreement with the resolution? Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
The last item is department monthly reports, and then I'd like to go to a closed session for economic development after that.
Anyone have a question on the departmental reports that were provided? If not, at this time, we'll ask for a motion to go into closed session
Do you have anything for legal requirements, Ron? Okay.
or
Economic
Economic
development?
development?
Yes, sir.
do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor of going into closed session, signify by raising your hand. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll excuse yourselves while we
Recess. Please.
Back. Okay.
Recess.
We're back in open session. Is there any further business? If not, we'll recess until 7 o'clock. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 7 p.m. on October 16, 2023, and this is the regular meeting session for the Goldsboro City Council. And at this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order and ask Councilwoman Jones to say the invocation. And then following that, if you will stand and follow us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, everyone. Let us take a deep breath, get off the afternoon, and bow our heads to the Lord. Jeremiah 29:7 says, "Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you will prosper also." Heavenly Father, we come before you today in concern for our city. We recognize you have placed us here for a purpose, and we seek guidance and blessings for our community and our citizens. We bring before you our prayers, knowing that you are the God who answers prayers. We pray for prosperity and well-being of our city, and we ask that you will please give our leaders wisdom and discernment in making the right and fair decision that will impact our city and our community. Amen.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated, please. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll, please.
Mayor Ham.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Matthews.
Present.
Councilwoman Jones.
Present.
Councilman Broadway.
Present.
Councilman Gaylor.
Present.
Councilman Batts.
Here.
Okay, we're all here. And the first thing we're going to take care of this evening is the Veterans Day proclamation. So I'd like to invite the representatives from the Wayne County Veterans Coalition to come forward. We have some guests coming up that I myself have a personal interest in being a veteran. And each year we celebrate Veterans Day, the most important day in our country. A most important day, one of the most important days we have. These gentlemen here, they'll speak a little bit later, but they do a lot for the veterans here in the city of Goldsboro and Wayne County. And by the way, there's a lot of veterans here, more so than someone might think. But anyway, so let me read the Veterans Day proclamation. Whereas on Veterans Day, we pause to honor those who have served in the United States Armed Forces, and whereas the Veterans Day holiday began in observance of the anniversary of the end of World War I as a day to be dedicated to the cause of world peace, and whereas in service to this cause, veterans have made immeasurable concessions and great personal sacrifices in the most demanding of circumstances. An example from which we draw inspiration and for which we annually renew our fullest gratitude. And whereas as we honor our veterans, we are mindful that no ceremony can repay the debt owed to veterans for their courageous and devoted service. And whereas we show our undying respect and gratitude to service members, veterans, and their families, and celebrate their integrity, honor, and valor reflected in their service and dedication. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Goldsboro City Council does hereby proclaim November 11, 2023 as Veterans Day. In the City of Goldsboro, and urge all citizens to remember the service and sacrifice of our veterans who defend our freedom and preserve our way of life. And before I give you this, let me just say, gentlemen and audience, this past week I was in Washington for some official business, not of the cities, but for the North Carolina Military Affairs Organization. And I went over to see the World War II Memorial. Then I went to see the Korean War Memorial, and then the Vietnam Memorial. And it re-inspired me to think about what those people have given to this country. And I would urge everybody, if they have an opportunity, or making an opportunity, to go to Washington and go see these three memorials. It's really very much inspiring. And so I think that, to me, sort of set the tone for my feelings about this Veterans Day. So I want to present this to the Veterans Coalition here. And I'm going to ask you guys to introduce yourselves and say whatever you'd like to say.
Go ahead, Eric. My name is Eric Bussey. I'm the current president of the Wayne County Veterans and Patriots Coalition. We'll introduce everybody. And
I'm Brian Volk. I'm the treasurer of the Wayne County Veterans and Patriots Coalition.
And I'm Andrew Niedermeyer. I'm the sergeant of arms.
all right. So we'd like to invite everybody out to our Veterans Day parade that we're going to be hosting downtown Goldsboro. It'll be November 11th, and the start time is 11:11. This year we're going to try to do something a little bit different. We've talked a little bit about it with the link here. Sorry. With the Vietnam veterans, right? It's coming up on the 50-year anniversary of the Vietnam War ending. We're going to try to do and get a bunch of Vietnam veterans to have a walking float with them as well. So if you know anybody that is a Vietnam veteran that would like to be part of that, please let us know. You can contact us through Facebook, and if you'd like to put a float in, there's no cost to our floats. You just have to go to our Facebook page or the Veteran Service Office on Ash Street and put in an application. I'd love to have you guys there. Thank you guys all for this. Thank you to the council and everybody for the proclamation.
Let me ask you a question. We're going to get the microphone now. I was supposed to have gotten the microphone. You reminded me that I was supposed to be using the microphone. So those veterans that want to participate in the march, what time should they assemble and where? Okay, what time should they assemble and where?
So November 8th is the deadline to put in an application for the Veterans Day Parade. Once we get all the applications in, we'll send out each individual float that enters more information as to where you're going to specifically line up and the lineup times.
So these individuals, these veterans that want to walk and march in the parade, they're not a unit per se. They're just people that's going to come to the parade. And so they don't have to necessarily meet this deadline, do they? They just show up. Is that?
For us to be able to get the lineup and everybody in there, we ask that it be done by November 8th.
Okay. All right, veterans, you heard the word.
I think we can probably accommodate. Because most of the veterans that we're talking about, they're not going to fill out an application. They're just going to show up that day, and they'll be in a large group of Vietnam veterans. We're still working out some of the details, but our vision is that those that are able to walk will walk, and those that are not able to walk, potentially in a wheelchair, we may have some mode of transportation, or what we were also thinking is we could have some airmen from the base come out in uniform and push a Vietnam veteran through the parade this year. So things are kind of evolving quickly as we go about this. The big thing, if you're interested in participating as a business or a person or an entity, our applications can be done on our Facebook page is Wayne County Veterans and Patriots Coalition on Facebook. The applications are there, and you can also go to the county webpage under Veteran Services, and our application is also there. You can mail them or drop them off at the Veteran Service Office there by the Senior Center on Ash Street. It's 2001D, I think it is, on Ash Street. And we'd ask that those applications be in by the 8th. The reason we ask that time frame, we have a group, I think it is at the Dillard alumni. They always bring a lot of Corvettes. And when you start talking 25 Corvettes in a parade, you have to block out a certain amount of room when we set the parade up the night before, so we need to know a couple days in advance how long your float is, how many people you're gonna have, so forth, so on. But as far as the veterans walking in the parade, we'll just have a blocked off area for those folks, and we'll just accommodate it and make that happen as we go.
Good. We just, I want to mention that also, these gentlemen were very involved and put on the Purple Heart banquet a few months ago. And that's another thing they do for the veterans here. And I was privileged last night to have dinner with the wife, with the sister of Staff Sergeant, what was the Ranger?
Oh, Corey Remsburg.
Corey Remsburg.
Yep.
I didn't realize his sister lives here in Goldsboro.
She does.
And,
Retired military. Her
right.
husband just retired. And Corey, for those of you that were there or saw, I just watched a video today of him walking probably better part of 150 yards on a walker by himself. So if you saw him when he was here, he did stand at the podium. This guy was severely injured in Iraq in 2010. Had actually physically a piece of metal in his brain. And if you want to get motivated, look up Corey Remsburg.
Well, it was very
We did
inspirational.
have one question in the
Yes,
back,
sir.
If we're going to march, will we need to be in uniform?
However you want to show up.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some people in town that still fit in their uniform. I'm not one of them.
Okay,
I
guys.
do know a guy that fits in his uniform, though. He'll be our grand marshal, if you haven't heard about that.
And it's a privilege, too. I'm very privileged to have served my country for 25 years and 2 tours in Vietnam. And this is a great honor for me. So, but the honor really goes to you guys for doing what you've done throughout these years. And again,
Takes a team.
Really?
Takes a team.
Wow.
You know that.
Yeah.
Nobody works by themselves.
Yeah, it is a team effort, absolutely. Okay, if there are no other questions, again, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll see you on the 11th of November.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, next on our agenda is Ms. Julie Whitfield, our clerk of court, who's going to talk to us about some of the services that the clerk of court office provides. So, Ms. Whitfield, Madam Clerk, come forward.
Thank you, Mayor Ham. I appreciate you asking me and allowing me to come tonight. I just jotted some things down. I'm not really good at keeping a time, but you've told me that I didn't have to rush, so you're ready. But no, I'll keep it short.
I'll bang the gavel if you've been here an hour.
So first of all, my name is Julie Whitfield, and I am your elected clerk of court. I'm from the Grantham community. I have 2 grown children. I have 2 granddaughters, one that is 6 and one that is fixing to be 1. And I'm the daughter of the late Deloitte Cotton. Some of you may remember Daddy. He was a county commissioner back in the 80s. And my mother is Nanny Mills. She is still living, just celebrated her 90th birthday. And most importantly, my husband, Bobby Joe, who has stuck by me and sticks by our office and is there to help us, all the ladies included, whenever we need him. So things that the clerk's office does, we wear many hats. We do anything from civil filings such as evictions, divorces, custody. There's some mediation, criminal traffic, from traffic charges to citations, misdemeanors, and felonies. So there's a lot that we do within that spectrum. We're the keeper of all the records, including the election files. I've still not figured that out, why we have to keep those, but we do. There's index books that we have to keep forever, big books, heavy books. There's just so many different things that we do within the office. There's not anybody that comes in our office unless they're paying their last child support payment or their last probation that's happy. people are hurt. We deal with hurting people every day. And that to me is, that makes us a public servants. And I tell my girls that compassion is, I hear different ones talk about their platform. My platform is compassion. Being there for those that are our walk of life. And I want my girls to do the same, and we offer that to them. And so far, so good. We would like to do tours. We would like people to come and see some things that we do, observe what we do, because sometimes I think people think the clerk's office is, nothing against the clerks in other, like Food Line or Walmart or whatever, that we have to have those. But sometimes I think that's what they think we do. I get phone calls and emails, as all of you I'm sure do, and it's like, wow, do they think I sit here and answer emails all day? But we have people that want to come in and talk with me about their personal problems. And I don't mean just citizens. I mean staff. And I do open my door to that. I mean, if they've got something they want to talk to me about, I'm there. And the main reason I am there for them is because I've been there. I've not lived the Cinderella, beautiful. I've, had a child at early age and was married and had to kiss a few toads before I found my handsome prince. But I've been very fortunate and I'm very blessed. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we started opening the doors at 8:30 instead of 8 o'clock. And you would think that the courthouse was going to fall apart because we did that. But I told the girls it's okay, it's going to work out, and it has. The reason we do that is because at 8:15, they still report at 8 o'clock, and at 8:15 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have devotion. And we do not do that every day because of other things that do cause a conflict. When we started that out in April, I had 12, because I do not make them come. If they do not want to participate, they can be back there filing or whatever. But I had 12, and as of last Thursday, I had 36 last Thursday, but I have had as many as 38, which is how many staff I have in my office. So I have a lot of young, have a lot of millennials. I have some that have, that are going through some hard times in life, and they're learning the way to live, how to live. And they see all these people come in, and they think, well, that's just ridiculous. Well, it's life. And I tell them, this is life. You have children, or you're going to have children or grandchildren that this could happen to. So just put yourself in their situation. So the jurors, when we deal with the jurors, we have jurors that come in. And one of the things that I say to the jurors when they come in is, just think if you had a family member that was here, whether they be, whether it be a gun charge or a murder charge, you still love them. They're somebody's child, regardless what's happened. And if that was your person up there, if that was your family, you would want somebody with some good sense on that jury. So please stay with us and don't, tell me that your toenail's coming off or something and you need to be, because it happens. You wouldn't believe the stuff that we hear for people trying to get out of jury duty. So there's a lot of things, the reason I tell you all this is that we deal with, because we're counselors. We are there for the people. We are there to help people. We're not there to hurt. And we need people like you all, and that's why I'm thankful that I'm able to come and speak with you all, because I've never been to a city council meeting. So I appreciate you guys allowing me to come. I think I've covered everything I just jotted down, but there's just so many things that I could tell you that we do, because something different arises every day. There's things that come out. I go home and tell my husband sometimes, I say, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, you can't make this up. The homeless population, they come into the office, and we at one time had a little store in there, and I've had to stop the store, and it broke my heart to have to do that, but it had gotten so bad that they were coming, and the girls, which I was thankful, would buy them a pack of nabs or a drink. But we had to stop the store because of that, so now they get it out of the trunk of the car, so the girls have got stuff in their trunk. But anyway, it's just, we're an office that is open to the public. We're here for the citizens for many, many, many reasons. We love everybody. We try to do the best we can to be the people that we need to be for everybody. My girls, I tell them, you're my citizens. You're not just my staff, you're citizens as well. So I just wanted to share with you guys to know what we do. Please come by and visit. The girls, as I said, there's young girls. Ron I don't see you as much anymore, but he remembers I've been there for 24 and a half years now, a little over 25. And so there's a lot of difference. There's a lot of changes. And during COVID, of course, the officers weren't coming in. I have opened the doors back up. Please come. These girls are young. They have no clue who some of you are. And when I talk about you, but they get so excited when I had one of the commissioners come the other day, and they're like, Miss Julie, I forgot who it was now, but I think it was Hardison. He said, he's here. He's the one of the commissioners. And I said, okay, you know. But they don't realize, they get excited because to you and to a lot of people, you're very important. And so know that you're important to us, and we appreciate all that you do. And if we can do anything, please let us know. And thank you again.
Thank you. So, Madam Clerk, did I understand you correctly that you got 38 employees?
I have 38 women. Yes.
Yeah, 38 women.
Employees.
Excuse me.
They are all women.
Wow,
So-
that's in itself impressive. I never thought they had that many.
38. And we have 2 officers. We do a state, and I didn't even mention this, and it's because my baby, when I worked there, was criminal court and civil, but we have states and special proceedings, and that's actually a big part. So we do deal with, wills, and that is a part of the clerk's office that in 24 and a half years, I never was given the opportunity to work directly with. Now, I did have guardianship of a cousin of mine who was mentally challenged, so my my husband adopted our son, and so I've been through that personally. But we do estates. That office is upstairs, but that does include those girls as well. There's 7 upstairs. And the clerk had always had their office upstairs, and I wondered why in the world they were upstairs with 7 when we had so many downstairs. Well, guess what? I found out. But I still stay downstairs. That's where the majority are. That's where I need to be. And so, but yeah, 38.
Thank you.
So.
Anyone else have any comments? Well, thank you for coming in and enlightening us on the activities that go on in your domain over there.
Thank
and
you.
hope I don't have to go over there and see you.
And that's what everybody tells me. I hate to tell people, you look familiar to me because it's usually from the courthouse.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're a mess.
Okay, at this time we'll go into public hearings, and the first item on the agenda is Z1323 Harry and Molly, and our planning department rep.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilmen, and
Good
women.
evening.
Good evening.
If you will recall, tonight we have 2 proceedings. One's going to be a rezoning request, a continuance from our last meeting we had, and the next one will be a special use permit. So without further ado, Z1323 Harry and Molly. This is again the continuance from our last public hearing, Mayor. This property is located on the north side of McLean Street between Oak Forest Road and East Ash Street Extension. Again, the location of this property is north side of McLean between Oak Forest Road and East Ash Street Extension. Approximately 63.85 acres are involved with this rezoning. The owner is Harry and Molly LLC. Applicants is in care of Mr. Robert Bob Ivy. Current zoning is general business, industrial business park. The proposed zoning is for general business. The land use designation is industrial. The applicant is again requesting a rezoning to the general business zoning district. Excuse me there. Here's a depiction of the subject property in red. Current zoning for the property, again, is industrial business park. This district is established to provide for a mixture of commercial and industrial uses of various types in a single coordinated development. The proposed zoning district is general business. This general business district is established to accommodate the widest range of uses providing general goods and services to the community. The intent of this district is to promote high-quality, accessible developments, serving the needs of the community and surrounding area. Looking at the monitor, you'll see this is the current zoning map. Majority of the subject property is predominantly zoned industrial business park with some general business to the south. Here is a zoning map of the proposed subject property. It's kind of hard to see. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have regarding the zoning map. The land use recommendation is industrial. This designation was developed to establish and protect industrial areas for the use of prime industrial operations and for the distribution of products at wholesale. The general business zoning district is not identified as a corresponding zoning district for this designation. Again, this is our land use plan map. Comments. This rezoning application was distributed to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base and NCDOT. Both were informed that this was a conventional rezoning. If the rezoning is approved, formal comments will be generated once the site-specific plan is submitted for development. The staff's evaluation and recommendation, according to the comprehensive land use plan, incompatible non-industrial uses shall not be allowed to encroach upon existing or planned industrial sites. Rezoning to general business will create opportunities for uses permitted by right in the general business zoning district to be located adjacent to existing or planned industrial sites. The comprehensive land use plan encourages new industrial development to locate in existing or planned industrial parks. Rezoning to general business could reduce opportunities for attracting new and existing industries to Park East. Rezoning to general business could decrease the existing Park East potential for future growth and development. Staff is recommending denial of the zoning request based on planning staff's evaluation above. As you see in your packet tonight, the attached worksheet, the Planning Commission met on September 25th, 2023 to review and make a recommendation regarding the rezoning request. The Planning Commission voted 4 in favor, 2 against, with the inclusion of the consistency statement. At the October 2nd, 2023 council meeting, City Council voted to continue the public hearing until October 16th, tonight, 2023. Council shall now vote to approve the recommendation of the Planning Commission with the inclusion of the consistency statement and adopt the approval ordinance, or City Council shall vote to deny the recommendation of the Planning Commission with the inclusion of the consistency statement. City Council may continue the public hearing to a date certain if they determine further discussion is needed. Mayor, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Does the council have any questions of the speaker?
I do. Go ahead.
No, I don't have a question of the speaker. You go ahead. I have a question though, but.
Okay. Well, this is a public hearing that was continued from the last meeting. We'll now open the matter.
Mayor, if I may, I actually have a question for Kenny. So we have in our packet, 2 letters, one from the Development Alliance and one from the Board of Commissioners, both expressing significant concern over this rezoning. Are you familiar? Have you looked at both of those?
Yes, sir, I'm aware. Thank you.
So the Development Alliance letter talks a good bit about some restrictive and protective covenants that were agreed on when the park was kind of pulled together. Are you at all familiar with those?
Vaguely, yes, sir.
Is there a way that the general business, and this is not leading, this is I'm genuinely trying to get to the bottom of this. When something is zoned general business, does it preclude an industry that wants to come and locate in that area from being able to do so? Or do we just have to go back through a zoning process again for that individual tract? If there were a project that came through the Development Alliance that wanted to go onto a piece of this, if you would go back to the map of this, if you had a lead that wanted to come, go back down to the one that actually shows the zoning, that one right there.
Mm-hmm.
So along McLean Drive, which just for reference, just assume McLean Drive north and south so we can talk in north, south, east, west on the picture. If something wanted to locate closer to Gateway Drive, what would the process be for being able to have an industry development land at that site after this is zoned general business?
Councilman, the only way I know to answer that question would be that a rezoning would have to take place.
So we have to go through the process all over again,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Is there anything that can happen in general business that has been brought to your attention that directly and logically impedes industry development? Like I've heard mention of mixed-use residential. Is that consistent with general business?
There are some uses that are included in the mixed-use land use designation that would speak to commercial uses.
Okay.
A corresponding zoning district would be the shopping center zoning district. But with regards to industrial use, again, I don't really think that any industrial use would speak to that particular zoning district.
In general business, could residential go in some form in general business?
Yes.
It can, in some form?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And on the commissioner's letter, you know, their biggest concern was about making sure that we have adequate inventory of industrial sites to be able to grow the county. I realize that this is the only map we have to go on here, but if you zoom out, are there any other tracts that are over there that are zoned or that under our land use plan could be zoned to industrial that would help to support the park and its future growth?
There could be, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have a question for you, but I have a question for the lawyer.
I'm going to invite him to come up in just a minute.
Oh, okay.
Is there any further questions to Mr. Talton? If not, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is a public hearing that was continued from the last meeting. We'll now open the hearing to the public. Does anyone wish to come forward and speak for or against the issue? Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you all for your time tonight. My name is Bryce Pike, and my firm represents the Ivy family and Harry Molly LLC regarding this rezoning request of approximately 63 acres from general business and industrial business park to general business. Here with me tonight is Mr. Steve Sutton and Mr. Bob Ivy, and they'll elaborate more on the importance and the specifics of this request, and I'll be here to answer any specific questions that you may have. And thank you again.
Sutton, could you, I don't
And
think
Ms. Jones.
Yes, I did have a question.
anyone
You
else
want to entertain my question now or later? Now?
Now's fine.
Oh, now it's fine, okay. Can you tell me about the industrial park and what it would mean if this business was there? That's very important. We need to find that out.
So this industrial park, and the Ivy's involvement with this began in 1990, June of '94, and the Ivy's voluntarily, without any compensation, agreed to be a part of this to help the county attract some national industry to Wayne County. Again, that was in '94, and they've tied up approximately 155 acres with these covenants since '94, and no industry has come. And we've gone through this has been going on for well over a year, trying to work with all the stakeholders in the county, and we thought that we had a great agreement. Actually, this past Friday, only to learn this morning that was no longer in place, and I can go into more specific details if any of y'all want that. Y'all may know about it. But the long and the short of the status of these covenants is they are on the property at this point, as long as the Ivies want them to be on the property. So after 10 years, so at 2004, after 2004, at any time, the Ivies can pull any part of their property out of the industrial park, or all of it, at their will, and all they have to do is file a document, the register of deeds, and they're out. So, and it's no longer part of the industrial park. So the Ivies do have that option, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of it. And your attorney, Mr. Lawrence, can advise you more on that if need be, and I can share a copy of these with him if he would like me to.
I'd be glad to take a look at them. I'm giving an opinion about it today, though.
Okay, well, I'd like for you to take a look at them.
I certainly can do that. We just have to get back another time for me to give you an opinion.
Okay, I would like for you to take a look at them. Also, if you can, if it's possible, Can you elaborate why you said you had an agreement with the county?
I wish I could tell you why we don't have one today. On Friday afternoon, I spoke with the council for the county, and we had reached an agreement, and I'd actually had Mr. Bob Ivy sign and submitted in advance of they had a special meeting this morning, and apparently I wasn't at the meeting, and it was a closed door, so I don't know what changed, but I was contacted by the county attorney and said that they no longer agreed to those terms, and they put forth some terms that I felt were unreasonable and that we could not enter into that agreement, and it was completely different than what was discussed on and agreed to on Friday afternoon.
So do you have in writing what the county agreed to in the beginning?
I have in writing what they agreed to Friday afternoon. Yes, we signed it and submitted it to the county attorney on Friday.
Thank you.
And I'll turn it over now to Mr. Steve Sutton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Let me bring you up to date. The reason for this zoning is that we've developed this property, the Ivy property. This is a better map. This is Gateway Drive or Oak Forest, comes around and stops right here. This is the existing zoning. This navy blue you see in here is a road that I built or helped the Ivy family build in 2018. It's 1,800 feet. It cost approximately $600,000 to build, at $400 a linear foot.
Yeah.
It cost approximately on this one $600,000 to build, a little under $400 a linear foot. The Ivy family on this last, because of the fires, the county needed this land. The Ivy family gave this 2 acres in here at a value of $100,000 to the county to build that road. The reason for this is we've sold these lots in here to Sport Durst. There's 3 of them and another one pending, plus Gerber collision over here. We need to build this road from where it stops on Harry Ivy Drive over to where it would theoretically come into Gateway Drive. The cost of this road is approaching $2 million, or roughly $1,200 a month. We want this rezoned so we'll have an opportunity to recapture this cost. But also these lots that sold to Sport Durst were predicated upon the fact that we put this road in. NCDOT is only going to let us have a joint driveway at the lines for these properties. So right now there are only 2 driveways. So if you had the same situation with Bill Hunter a couple of years ago where we had the fire and the people couldn't get out, you'd have the same situation here if you had. So this is mandatory for this road to come in. Now, we've already invested $350,000 in the planning materials and moving this ditch for $150,000 to make the drainage work. We've got a contract pending with Barber Brothers that's going to build this road for $1.3 million plus that. Sport Durst has got a contract with Jackson Builders to build this road. All this is predicated on bringing $15 million into the city of Goldsboro. $15 million that's going to stay here. They're local jobs. They're not St. Wooten. They're right here. We're going to move the jobs from Sport Durst over to Mazda and Volkswagen, but they'll add 30 more jobs.
Microphone a little closer.
They'll add 30 more jobs here. The third location will probably have 60 jobs. Gerber Collision over here will probably have 30. So all this is bringing in money, a tax base. We're going to spend, construction-wise, $15 million going into Goldsboro and Wayne County. We're going to add, we've already added $17 million to the tax base here. We're going to add another $15 million here in your tax base. Plus, we're going to have collectively probably 100 more jobs. Now, to give you an example of where we are, this is what we're asking to rezone. It's already perimeter zoned by general business shopping center here, general business here, and the Ivies own this land here. This is the industrial park back here, but the Ivies, they own this land back here. Now, the first question I had raised was, the county needs the land. Well, If we take this 63 acres out and do what we need to do, create the jobs, create the income, the tax base, there's still 80 acres over here. I think it's 87 acres. And there's an additional 185 acres back here that the industrial park talked to us about in the meeting about having it rezoned to industrial. Now that would lead or be more than enough. In the first 30 years up here, they've only developed 95 acres. They've gone over on Paytown Road and spent $1 million and put in a road to build an industrial business park. Nobody's going to pay for our road except for the Ivies. So we need your help. We went step by step with the planning department. I submitted 3 maps. Mr. Pike and I met with Peyton Blanchard, Austin Brinkley, Kenny Townton, Molly Ivy was there, Emory Ivy was there. We laid out a plan to go step by step to get this to go, to have your support. I didn't hear anything about any problems at all until the Wednesday before the planning board commission. I get a call from Mr. Townton saying, we're not going to support you. Well, we went, Mr. Ivy and I went, we had a hearing with the planning board. They recommended that this property be rezoned. The consistent use is we have general business here. We have general business here. We have general. That abuts the property that we want rezoned to general business. But don't lose sight. These are jobs. This is money that needs to come into Wayne County. You got the other map. County want this battery operation, it's all top secret. This is the property we're talking about rezoning. This is the area over here that would more than accommodate the business that they're talking about bringing in. We set this project aside for a year in November at the request of the county. It's already cost us $300,000. Our interest rate, I've had the borrow claim to build it. Our interest rate has gone from 3.5% to 8.5%. We need to build. We've got a contract to start construction day after tomorrow. But I need your approval to build. I've got to recapture this money. Thank you.
Mr. Sutton, on either one of the maps, because they're, for the record, y'all can't see from that direction, but for the record, they're the same, but one certain things are highlighted, on the other they're not. They're the same map. Just one is color coded, which makes life easier for us. So, yeah, on that map, where is Thoroughfare Road? Where are the railroad tracks? Where are the electrical lines?
Way back.
Right.
There's Thoroughfare Road, and actually, this property goes out to Thoroughfare Road, and so it all joins the park already. A lot of land for a park.
But they've developed 95 acres in 30 years. They've got 100 acres over Paytown Road. This is if we wanted to be, we could make available 272 additional acres. It'd take them 120 years at the rate they've been going to need more land. But we need the jobs and we need the tax base here.
We do.
Well, one more question, and y'all interrupt me, by the way. In general business, in between go back to the color-coded map, if you would. That one's a lot easier. All right. So there, the road that you need to build, that you want to build, between there and Gateway Drive, what sorts of businesses have approached you about going there?
Well, we're looking to support businesses for the car dealerships.
Okay.
And the other industries. Roughly, since we started this, there are actually 5 existing dealerships. There'll be 3 or 4 more. There are 1,000 jobs in this area. They have no place to eat. We've got to get food in. They've got to drive to New Hope and Berkeley to buy a gallon of gas. They've got to go to NC11 and US 70. There's no gas. We have, the city's doing the roundabouts over here. We have hoped that this road would tie in. It makes logical sense to tie in with a light here. But we could put a Sheetz, a Wawa, something there. But we need support businesses back here. That's where we would be focused. And we've got, I'm gonna lose out of the 68 acres, fingering in the cul-de-sacs, I'll lose another 8 to 10 acres in land, but that's what we need it for. But the main thing is, industrial-wise, I can't recover the $2 million that we're gonna have in this road.
Is there any residential planned?
No, sir. You've got plenty of residential plans up here. Townhouses you've already approved. You've got residential over here that you've approved duplexes. This is zoned residential back here, but the county talked to us, and will be very supporting to have that rezoned to industrial. We've hired an industrial specialist with Cushman and Wakefield, Mr.
Can you
Ross.
show me lot 18 on that map?
I think it's right there.
Okay, so what's happening with lot 18?
They're proposed to build a shell building to build a hatchery, I understand. Is that correct?
That's what I understand.
The publications I've read said they're gonna build a hatchery. They're gonna put $56 million in, is what it's saying. It's a shell building. It's an automated service. And at the end of that, they're gonna create 24 to 26 jobs when they get fully ramped up.
Only 26 jobs.
That's what they published. It's automated. It's a shell building. And the county gave that to them, is my understanding. We're having to fight. I mean, I don't understand why we have to fight the city to spend $15 million in here. And for you, and add 100 jobs. Y'all should be embracing it.
Go ahead.
My 3 minutes.
Sure. No time limit right now. Yeah, there's no time.
I can get very emotional about this. This is my father's land. I helped negotiate the park deal in '94. It's almost 30 years ago. I wish I felt like, I did back then. But the truth of the matter is, we're a generational family farm. My daughter, is a farmer. We have livestock farms. We're building poultry farms over by the base. And we have always loved Wayne County, and we've always worked hard for the city. And, politicians, nothing against, they come and go. I mean, we've been here for 30 years. We could have got out of this in 10 years after '94, and we haven't got one bit of land. All we've got is rainbows, And all we're asking is let's go ahead and make something happen. Let's get some base hits for the city. Let's get some things that we can do. These people are ready to go. I gave them a word to Sports Nurse. Farmers, we like to give our word. We like to shake hands, and we like to go on with doing what we say. And I don't feel like the park has done what they said they were going to do in this. And if you're worried about this property being in the park, Mr. Bryce here has my permission to take that worry off. Write a letter. We're going to take the property out of the park, because it makes me very upset when people don't do what they say. So, I mean, I got to be a business person, but if you're not going to do what you say, I don't need to be in business with you.
What does Wayne County?
I promise you, our family will do what we say.
What does the county want you to do in order to approve this? What does the county want?
I don't know what the county's got to approve.
They don't.
I know they don't. I know they don't.
So the county sent a we met with several of the county stakeholders last Wednesday, and had a long meeting, and at the end of the meeting we agreed to enter into negotiations, because obviously on 4 or 5 days we're not going to be able to nail down everything. We entered into an agreement to discuss a buffer to discuss, to make sure that what we put in here was consistent with the industrial plans that they had, and and to add some more property to the park. And we shook hands at the end of that meeting, and we're very optimistic about this thing, and everybody was excited, and we left there, and we all knew it was going to be a bare bones agreement. We talked about it, and Friday I was sent an agreement that was very different than what we talked about, and had all these stipulations and terms and things trying to tie us down, which they can't be they're being kind of held under a gun to sign these things, because it was like, either you do this or we're not going to support you. And I didn't feel like that was reasonable. The Ivies have done what they said they were going to do since 1994. Why are they going to change now? And they have not directed me to do anything besides uphold their words. And I can tell you that if this doesn't get approved, we're going to uphold our word on our future dealings with the county.
And when we sell land to the county, we could put covenants and restrictions on it. We could do the same thing that they're asking to do to us. We're gonna let them develop, and we need to develop. We need to have this rezoned and build this road and move on.
And the long and the short of it is this. We sold lots in here in the last 10 years. We've sold several lots in here. We've got folks interested in this after it's rezoned general business. We're going to build a road. I mean, I don't understand what's not to like here, and we're delivering on it, and we're ready for the county to do something, and we're ready to help them, but we're not going to negotiate at the 11th hour under fair terms, and nobody deserves to be put in that situation.
Put everything on hold with the county for a year. It cost us $700,000.
One last comment. We've worked on this for over a year with the city to reach an agreement, move forward with the road, and get financing. And I'm working on the financing right now. And the financing is predicated on getting this zone general business. The dealerships are ready to go. They don't want to wait another year. I mean, things aren't good out there right now as far as getting things built or prices and all that. Please don't make us, start. We've waited and been very patient and been very supportive for people to do what they thought they were going to do. We just want to do what we told these people that we would do on getting this road in.
Thank you.
Are there any other specific questions? We thank you very much, and we hope we can get your vote for getting this approved tonight, and we can all move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we're still,
I have one more question.
okay.
Mr. Sutton,
Yes, ma'am.
can you tell me how much money you've already lost?
That'd be hard to say in the interest factor, but I know that I've got $50,000 invested in the design of the road. I've got $160 to move the ditch for drainage so that everybody could have an access on McLean Drive. I've got materials that are due to be delivered that had to be ordered 6 weeks ago that are going to hit for Barber Brothers to build that total $128,000 plus tax. That's what we're on. We've already paid for most of it. We're going to have that bill coming due next month. And that's what we've got out of pocket right now. Now, what's really cost us is the interest rate. I mean, we're having to borrow the money to build a road, and it's gone from 3.5% to 8.5%. And if we wait, I don't know where interest rates are going. It could cost us even more.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against this issue, please come forward. Anyone wish to speak? If not, I'll close the public hearing on that and ask, is there a motion to approve and adopt the ordinance to approve with the inclusion of the consistency statement? Or is there a motion to deny with the inclusion of the inconsistency statement that deems this rezoning request to be inconsistent?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve and second. Any further discussion? Okay, that being the situation, all in favor of the motion to approve signify by raising your hand. I believe that's unanimous.
Thank you, ladies, very much. Thank you very much. We will thank y'all about what they're doing.
Thank you, Ted.
Yeah.
The next item is SU 16-23, Joseph Taylor Automobile Sales Unit.
Alrighty, moving on to our special use permit.
Mr. Talton.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thanks, sir.
Wait, hold on a second. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter, please come forward now and be sworn in. If you're here to speak on this matter, please come forward. Okay. All right, Mr. Towson.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. So our next request is for a special use permit for used automobile sales to be located on North James Street. You will probably be familiar with the property when I tell you that it wasn't long ago we looked at the old Moffett Oil Facility having a special use permit for the storage of flammable and gaseous liquids. This piece of property is directly across the street from that property, and as I believe it's referred to as the old Sportsman's World facility. So to give you a little bit of context there and orientation. So again, the owner is Goldsboro Holdings, LLC. The applicant is Mr. Joseph Taylor. The zoning at this time is general industry. The land use designation is industrial. The applicant's requesting a special use permit to operate automobile sales used as a dealership at this location. I'll give you a little more information before I go too much further on this. This is a request by the applicant to operate a dealership within an existing facility, just an office only. There's not going to be any outside display of vehicles or storage of vehicles on site. The North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles requires that if you're going to engage in the wholesale of vehicles for sale, that you have to have an office to locate within, and it has to be accessible by members of the DMV in order to meet their standard requirements, as well as for the owner to sell cars, be able to conduct business activity out of. Just want to give you a little more information on what it specifically he is wanting to do. So here's the location. Again, North James Street and Holly Street. The zoning again is general industry, established to accommodate the widest range of manufacturing, wholesale, and distribution uses. Here's the let's see, the zoning map. Industrial, general industry is predominantly the zoning for the area. The land use recommendation is industrial. This designation's purpose is to establish and protect industrial areas for the use of prime industrial locations and for the distribution of products at wholesale. Here's the comprehensive land use plan. Due to the nature of the proposal, a TRC was not required. If the special use is approved, a building permit and final inspection will be required. Compliance with the North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles and State Building Code shall be achieved before a certificate of occupancy can be issued for the dealership. Hours of operation Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Employees, only one. And again, I draw your attention to the bottom of this slide. According to the applicant, submitted site plan application and site plan, the proposed use is for automobile sales used with no vehicular sales display or outside storage. The applicant desires to operate as a wholesale dealer of antique automobiles. According to the North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles, a wholesale dealer's license requires that a private office containing at least 96 square feet of floor space and a permanent enclosed building or structure which is accessible to division personnel to be established for wholesale operations for bookkeeping, record keeping, files, and storage. According to the applicant, automobiles for sale will be stored off-site and outside of Goldsboro's planning jurisdiction. At this time, if you have any questions of staff, I'm here to answer them.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
This appears to be a pretty large building based on the size here.
Yes, sir.
But yet, the only thing that's going to be there is an office. Is that correct?
Well, actually, Mayor, this facility, again, the owner uses the facility as a manufacturing type facility, of which he owns another business. He can probably speak more to that. So in conjunction with that facility, there would just be an office in there just for the wholesale transaction of sales for antique cars that he wants to have as accessory to that main principal use of the manufacturing facility there.
Do you know what the manufacturing facility consists of?
I do, but I think I need to let him speak to that because there's some confidentiality, subject matter that I might need to let him discuss before I say anything about it. Any other questions?
Before he comes up, any other questions?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Taylor, right?
Yes, sir.
So I don't want you to disclose any confidential information. I'm just curious as to what manufacturing.
I'm a military contractor. We manufacture ballistic panels.
I support that.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant? All right, sir, thank you.
Oh, that's all you need?
That's it?
No, thank you.
Unless you want to say something.
No, I'm an avid classic car collector, so I need my dealer's license, and state of North Carolina is making me jump through hoops. So we've got 4 sales offices on the Holly Street side that Sportsman's World used that are now empty. So we're going to designate one of those for a dealer's office, so the state of North Carolina is happy, gives them a place to come and inspect records.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's fine. Okay, I'll ask one more time if there's anyone that wants to speak for or against this matter. I see no one coming forward, so I'll close the public hearing. And based on the conditions recommended by the planning staff, is there a motion that the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, next one. Is there a motion that the use will not substantially injure the beneficial use of adjoining or abutting property?
So moved. Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Third, is there a motion that the use will be in harmony with existing development and uses within the area in which it is located?
So moved.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by raising your hand. Fourth, is there a motion that the use will be in general conformity with the City of Goldsboro's comprehensive land use plan?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by raising your hand. Okay, motion's carried. Motion approved. Okay, we're down to public comment period. At this time, we'll open the floor for public comment period. The clerk, while she's getting the sign-in list, I'm reminded that the city allocates 30 minutes for the public comment period. Each individual that wishes to speak is given a 3-minute to speak. The time will be shown on the monitor here, 3 minutes. And you'll be notified by a beep when you have 30 seconds left, and then when your time is up, you'll get 2 more beeps. So, Madam Clerk.
Our first speaker is Tanisha Saylor.
Yeah, Ms. Saylor.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. Can I put this back?
Can.
I think I got it. Okay, you ready? Last city council meeting, I told you that the recipients of the food stamps in this city is twice the number of the state. You all asked me why. I've been coming to you in these meetings since August, addressing why. Eviction is both wrong and right. People living, well, not people living, but people being forced to move into hotels, utilities going up, and basically the higher cost of living that are causing these families to now not only live in hotels, but now they're starting hotel surf. Once, like, after that 90 days, and they've been to court, basically, they've been put out, they're now hotel surfing. And I actually spoke to somebody on the bus. She said some of her friends are now doing it, which is sad. Our families in the city are not being helped as they should be. You are building downtown Goldsboro more than you are building up the families of Goldsboro. We all know it takes a village to raise kids, but it should take communities to build families. Have we actually looked at these statistics lately? I'm not going to say the other part. I'm not just talking about the number. When I talk about statistics, I'm not just talking about the numbers in evictions and the families becoming homeless. I'm also talking about the high raising crime rate. Why is your crime rate going up? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Why are families becoming hungry and homeless? If you go to the stores in the middle of the day and talk to these people, even some of these hotel owners, and you ask them why is it that you're living in this hotel? Or why do you have families living in this hotel? They'll actually tell you. They don't mind telling you. They've told me. I've spoken to Days Inn Hotel within the past month, and they thought it was ridiculous because the more and more families that are asking not asking, but they're booking for a night and they're staying for weeks at a time, and then eventually it's becoming like 90 days or like 4 months, and it shouldn't be like that because like this is a city, and I see every day downtown Goldsboro growing and growing, but I see nothing being done with these families in these hotels. I'm reading articles from Charlotte, from across the city, or not across the city, excuse me, from across the state, where there are groups going into these hotels, helping these families, helping these kids that are falling behind. I'm asking myself, why isn't Goldsboro doing anything about these families in these hotels? Why is there a car wash being popped up here, popped up there, but not a shelter here or there, not a food bank closer with longer hours? I'm asking for your help for these families that are helping build downtown Goldsboro because it's not right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Peter Stewart.
Good evening, sir.
Hello. It's good to see you folks again. I'm here to speak about Thoroughfare again. I want to keep it fresh on your minds. We, the people of Thoroughfare, We get to watch the chaos on the road. We get to watch the school bus come. Cars passing school buses. Kids don't go out to the road on Thoroughfare to wait for the school buses because it would be psycho to send your kids out to the road on Thoroughfare to wait on a school bus. The cars, the racing of cars, it is pretty incredible. And I've been threatened by a car. I even told you about the guy thing. My neighbor was out there when that happened. So, this guy actually threatened me with a vehicle because I stepped out in the road. He came around the curve after I was already in the road, and he gunned it. And this is what we have to deal with. But to be right truthful with you, I can navigate through the cars. But children, think about when you were a kid. The roads were open and they were ready to go. And yeah, you did stupid things, but you survived. But there were a lot of things that we did when we were kids that Thoroughfare would have. I was on Walnut Street, a block from the courthouse, so it wasn't a big thing. But Thoroughfare, 45 miles an hour. The cars coming off of Thoroughfare over the railroad tracks are already moving 55. Some of them don't slow down until they get to Central Heights. And then from Central Heights, people are speeding up because they know they're going to be going 55 once they hit the railroad tracks. It's just a short piece of road. We need the speed limit changed. We need to protect the kids. We need to protect people who want to back out of their driveways. It's really bad. It's really bad. And there's a lot of almost that go on. And I looked at this email chain where they involved the DOT with this. And the DOT guy said, well, there haven't been enough instances. So the question that comes from that, and this is sick, how many kids have to get hit by cars before you understand we're trying to prevent and protect the families along there? And that's why we're bringing it to your attention. And we're, again, please help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment on that?
Yeah, please.
So just to update the board, we do have a
Matt,
resolution.
Matt.
Thank you.
We did work with the DOT on that, and they have now agreed. I agree with the situation. I went out there. There were some issues, other issues we looked into and are trying to take care of, that it does need to be 35 there. And I recommended decel to 45 and then 35, and they originally said no, but then I worked them a little bit more. They've agreed that all we need to do is pass a resolution. I did not get it. I haven't had time to get that to you, but a resolution for 35 throughout that whole area. So that will be coming back to you in 2 weeks. So I do hope you support that. I just wanted to let you know that something is being done, or we're working on it.
Okay, thank you. I was aware you were working on that. Sir, did you hear
Yes.
the comments there?
Matt and I talked, and I do appreciate him a whole lot.
Okay, very good.
Our next speaker is Pat Lechner.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Lechner. I'm here to address the concerns about the City Hall chiller unit. I heard last council meeting, primarily being the mismanagement of the oversight, and what's being passed around is pretty much just my notes, just my talking points, so you guys can kind of follow along and just keep it with you. But primarily the mismanagement of oversight. Last council meeting, 10/2/23, the IT director very casually, nonchalantly addressed you all, stating the City Hall chiller unit that provides climate control to both historic and new City Hall has gone down, and replacement of failed components are obsolete. Proposing a temporary to be delivered, which has already been here, and ran into an estimated of $120,000. That's 120 grand. That's based off of the estimation that was given by the IT director based off of X amount of months at a monthly cost. And still needing the new unit to be installed. This is based off the 8-month delivery, in addition to the new unit, which is estimated for another $400,000, totaling estimated of over $500,000, just over $500,000, which is $520,000 of taxpayer dollars. That additional 120 could have and should have been avoided through proper maintenance and planning. IT director stating 2 circuit boards and some other parts, but he was correct when he said you can't just go and pick one up, so to speak. He mentioned a lead time of 8 months. My question to that is, does this include the bidding process? Realistically, this will take 12 to 18 months for delivery. I know this time frame is more accurate because after the bid process to the awarded bidder, we'll still have to go through a mechanical engineer drawings. Regardless of if the contractor already has an engineer on hand, it's still going to have to go through that process. Somebody's still going to have to come out here and make some upgrades. I've been in this field of work for over 25 years, and in fact, I've served the city of Goldsboro as a maintenance department for 19 years. From 2016 to 2019, I served as maintenance superintendent prior to transferring. And if anyone ever tries to tell you that this is something that could not have been foreseen or prevented, they're lying to you. This is and I'll go ahead and try to wrap this up. This should have been in the CIP. Long story short, this should have been in the CIP. That's the whole purpose why we have the plan in place and the 5-year projection. Somebody at some time should have said, hey, this unit is almost 20 years old. We need to go ahead and put it in the plan. Let's go ahead and start budgeting for it. But nobody did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker is Carl Lundgren.
Mayor Hammond, council members, general public, fellow citizens. Again, Carl Lundgren, glad to be here this evening, and just want to extend an invitation. I have once before, but it's been a while, and the bad news is this is last minute because it's tomorrow evening. The good news is it'll be fresh in your mind because it's only 22 hours away. But so glass half full. But it's the third Tuesday of almost every month. A few exceptions around Christmas time or whatever, but it's generally the third Tuesday of each month. So it's an open invitation, and I'd like to one of you has been, Mr. Taylor, and we appreciate that. And so basically, Liberty First Wayne is about 12 years old. I've been a member about 8 years, and our focus is on biblical principles, and then the blessings of liberty, fiscal responsibility and accountability, and adherence to the U.S. Constitution. And we're just working to do a half a dozen or so different projects from time to time to help make Wayne County and this neck of the woods in North Carolina just a nice beacon for people to want to live here and enjoy, like I said, the blessings of liberty. So that's about it, really, unless anybody has any questions.
Questions? Okay. Thanks, sir.
Hope you'll feel welcome to attend.
I apologize. I missed someone, and please forgive me, Mr. Edwards. We need go back to Mr. Warren Edwards, please.
Good evening, Mr. Edwards.
Good evening. How you doing?
Good.
Also hear about the third phase issue, and I did hear what the gentleman said about their working on getting the speed limit reduced. I just wanted to make sure that y'all knew it's just not Peter. It's all the whole community. We're back here together, and it's like my mother. She's 83 years old. She has to cross the road sometime to go to our mailbox. If she's not doing it, my aunt's doing it. She's in her 60s. I'm in my 50s, and I'm a disabled vet. So sometimes I'm with my walker, sometimes I'm with my cane, and not only that, we have grandkids. And we got a baby. She was in here a while ago. They love to run out to the road. and sometimes you can't catch them, especially if I'm hurting or whatever. So that's the big issue with the speed. Also, there's another issue about lighting. They tell us that we can't have a street light at every other pole. But at nighttime, going down Thoroughfare Road, you can't even see your house sometimes. Depends on where you stay. You can't see your house. And I got this great big old house out there, and you can't even see it. You got a light here. If I'm coming from the tracks, I can't even see my house. And this is at night, and I've talked to them. They come out. They keep saying, we can't put lights at every pole. I go down Ash Street. There's a light on every pole. I pay city taxes just like they do. So we need lights on Thoroughfare Road also. I'm done with this thing.
Thank you.
Okay, may I?
You're looking at.
Mayor, may I ask the question?
Thank you, Matt.
May I ask the question,
Sure.
Mayor?
Come back up, sir.
No, not you.
Okay,
I don't
never mind.
want to ask the question. I know about Thoroughfare Road. I've been on that. I have friends on Thoroughfare Road. I want to ask, isn't Thoroughfare, they can't vote for the mayor, so is that city or county?
We're city.
What city?
We're city from the railroad tracks towards.
Okay.
On the other side, that's the problem with the speed.
Okay, all right. I had the wrong side. Okay, I'm just trying to get myself together. Thank you.
Sorry. You had it, I just had it.
We don't have any more speakers?
Okay, there are no more speakers, so I'll close the, I'll be speaking at this time. And we'll go to the consent agenda items.
Consent agenda items E through R presented for council approval.
Council, you've heard the consent agenda items. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve items E through R. Consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll.
Mayor Ham?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Matthews?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones?
Yes.
Councilman Broadway?
Yes.
Councilman Gaylor?
Yes.
Councilman Batt?
Yes.
Okay, the consent agenda is approved. We have no items requiring individual action, so we'll go to the city manager's report.
Nothing to add, sir. Thank you.
We have no more ceremonial documents, and we'll have mayor and city council members' comments. Mr. Bass, we'll start with you.
No comment.
Mr. Gaylor?
No comment.
Madam Pro Tem?
I just want to remind everybody that early voting starts this Thursday. So let's make sure we get to the polls. Also want to announce that Bachelor Brothers Funeral Establishment is doing limos to the polls. So if anybody needs a ride or wants to just ride in style to go and vote, you can contact them during the week, Monday through Friday. It would be appointment only. And then on the weekends when the polls are open, they will run all day. So that number to make an appointment is 919-988-9077, or you can always contact me via the Councilwoman page on Facebook, and I can get you in contact with the right people. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Broadway?
The only thing I said is, the last meeting, I appealed for everyone to vote as they could, and obviously I wasn't very successful because we only had 13.8% of eligible voters work in the last primary. We simply have got to do better as a city and a county. All of us have to. We can't continue to function with only 13 or 14% of the people voting on important elections. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Jones?
Yes, I would just like to say that October is Red Ribbon Month. The dates are 23rd to the 31st, and it is the largest substance use abuse campaign. And the Continentals will be in various schools talking about drugs. I'm asking that you talk to your children about drugs and what's going on in their lives. Talk to them, see if they got any information about Red Ribbon and how drugs affects the home and the community and your family.
Let me also speak to the voter turnout. It is disappointing, low numbers. And we all have spoken about this before, but again, ladies and gentlemen of the city of Goldsboro, please, please make this a priority in your life. It's something that is continually talked about, your constitutional rights, and voting is one of the most important of those rights. So please, when the primary starts next week, go out and vote. The second thing I want to mention is tonight when the Patriots Coalition announced that the Veterans Parade will include an opportunity for Vietnam veterans to march. One of the things that was often heard after Vietnam was that Vietnam veterans returning were not received very well, that there was never a parade for them. So let's let Goldsboro show our Vietnam veterans, and there are numerous Vietnam veterans here, and numerous Purple Heart veterans of Vietnam here as well. I want all the veterans that are looking at this meeting to come out on November 11th, participate in the parade. I want the public to also come out and not only support the Vietnam veterans, but support all veterans. There are veterans here from Korea, Vietnam. We even have one, I said Vietnam, Korea. And of course we have the Middle East veterans. And you'll be surprised if you ever knew how many of them exist and live here in the city of Goldsboro and Wayne County. So please support that, and veterans, participate in this opportunity. I have nothing else on my agenda, so if there's nothing else, I will adjourn the meeting.